car just like just flips over and just and
shit.
Yeah, it rolls a bunch of times and all the windows explode.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Bad Times, Good Stories podcast. My name is Joe Flanders. I am thrilled to have you here with me today or tonight or tomorrow or whatever time it is that you're watching this or listening to it. I am excited about the holiday season. As you can see behind me, we've got a little tree. Got some stuff on it. Stuff being ornaments and lights. And stockings for me, the missus, and the dog. So we're in the season. This is the first year I've had a tree since I was growing up. And gotta say, I enjoyed the smell of pine in the morning. So things are good with me. I hope they are with you. Today on the show, I'm really excited to have Stephen Briggs, who is really funny and talented comedian. And he talks about the 3 times that he nearly died. So what better time to talk about being appreciative of being alive than during the holidays? Yeah, he's had a pretty crazy go of things, starting off as a child when a serial killer nearly got him. And then there was an incident with a jet ski and also a pretty ridiculous car crash in which the aftermath led to him interacting with some of the craziest characters I've ever heard. So really a great time. I really enjoyed talking with Stephen. We also talk about the fact that he's performed for the troops all over the world and how that has led to him seeing a gorilla pleasure himself, and the knowledge that there is actually a Taco Bell in Guantanamo Bay, which blew my mind. So it's a great episode. I enjoyed talking with Stephen, and we also talk about the fact that he's performed comedy for the troops all over the world and sort of the crazy scenarios, situations, and realizations he's had thanks to that experience. So if you enjoyed the episode, please give us that 5 stars on iTunes and perhaps even write a review, given that it is the holiday season. If you do write a review, just take a screenshot of it, email it to me at badtimegoodStoriesPodcast@gmail.com, along with your address, and I'll send you a sticker for the show. They're pretty cool. Just ordered them, and I look forward to handing them out, or mailing them out. Mailing them out. So yeah, it's pretty easy. Just write a review on iTunes or the Apple Podcasts app about the show and screenshot it, email it to me, badtimesgoodstoriespodcast@gmail.com, and I'll send you a cool sticker. You can also check out badtimesgoodstoriespod.com for past episodes, merch, and the Patreon link, so you can support the show on a monthly basis. It would mean a lot. And that so ends my asking for things. So, without further ado, here's my conversation with Stephen Briggs.
So you performed overseas for the troops doing stand-up?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I performed like overseas for the troops and also just overseas just like randomly by myself too. So like earlier this year I was in like China and Japan twice.
Okay.
And I'm setting up another tour in Japan next year. So
wow. How long have you been doing stand-up?
Like almost 9 years.
That's 9 years in. If you're playing overseas and stuff, I mean, that's impressive.
It's a long time to be doing stand-up. Yeah.
What do you? Because I listened to plenty of interviews with comedians and all that stuff, and it seems like the consensus is you got to put in about 10 years to get where you want to go. So when you hear that, are you just like, I mean, what do you think?
I'm like, what else am I gonna do?
Yeah,
like pretty much. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, okay, like 10 years, cool, like whatever, like that's what people say and stuff like that. I just kind of like thought about it as like I accidentally got into stand up. I didn't like mean to, I didn't even know stand up was a real thing. I just got into it accidentally. And then I was like, I'll do this until I figure out what I'm going to do with my life. And then I just never figured out what I was going to do with my life. So I'm still trying to figure it out. If something better comes along, like let me know if there's something better, You'll
just literally drop the mic and walk off stage and be done with it.
But I just never find anything like better. So I never think about it as like, I just need to get so good quick, or like why 10 years? I'm just like, what else am I going to do? What am I going to work at Starbucks?
Well, sure. I mean, it's an arbitrary number, but it sounds like it's definitely starting to pay off for you. I'm curious, like, where have you performed for the troops and how'd you get involved with doing that?
Well, I was doing a showcase at the Laugh Factory, and this guy saw me. He's like, "Hey, man," he goes, "I like your stuff." He goes, "You want to do some shows for the military inside the U.S.?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So he started booking me all these shows inside the U.S. and stuff like that. It's kind of weird that I'm talking about that, and I have an army jacket on. My mom just got me this jacket, so
oh, nice.
Yeah. Thanks, Mom. She literally just got it for me, and I was like, "She's like, you better use my gift." I'm like, "I'll use it, Mom." And I was like,
wearing it right now.
Yeah, right.
Fun to watch.
Mom,
cool.
thank you.
So you performed in the U.S. and then did it?
And then randomly I got hit up about this tour over in Ethiopia, and it was going to Ethiopia and a bunch of other places, and like Kuwait and Bahrain, and they're like, "Hey, you want to do this tour?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." And I remember I was like really nervous for it because like I was like, this was like, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh wow.
So I was like really young, and the guys that were on the tour with me all like 40 plus years old.
Yeah.
And that's not old, but you know, the thing is like they had all been doing comedy for way over 10 years.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So I'm like, oh damn, am I going to look like an idiot and stuff like that? And I was like really nervous about like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
of course.
With like these guys been doing it
these
forever.
seasoned veterans.
But it ended up going really well. Like the tour was amazing. It was like it blew my mind. And like I remember when I first started doing stand up, I was like, oh, if I could just like, you know, get to see the world for free, that'd be great. Because like I knew I was like the way I was like living, I was like, oh, I may never ever get the money to go ahead and go do these cool trips and stuff like that.
Sure.
So it was like incredible to get to do all that like right off the bat and stuff, and just like see all these great places. Like we were in Ethiopia, man. And we were staying in these canopies that were like overlooking a jungle and stuff like that. And they had this wall that was like 50 feet high, I think it was. I didn't count it, but they told me it was 50 feet.
Yeah, take their word for it. Why would they lie?
And at the top of the wall, there's a restaurant. You can just overlook this. I think it's still to my this day the most beautiful sight I've ever seen. It was just this jungle, this huge jungle, and you can see everything. It's really clear. And they're like, dude, there's baboons down there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I go, oh, aren't you guys worried about the baboons? Like, and they're like, oh no, they can't climb the wall. It's like 50 feet. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Literally 10 minutes later, a baboon comes over the wall, grabs this woman's beer and chugs it and breaks it and knocks over a table. And like 10 other baboons come over and start stealing everyone's food. And I'm like, I'm hiding under a table. I'm like, and I grabbed a guard's leg. I'm like holding his leg. He's like, get off of me. Get off of me. I was like, and they're pulling out billy clubs and they're trying to fight the baboons off, and the baboons are stealing our food and stuff like that. I was like, let them have what they want. And I guess it's a bad thing in Ethiopia. Like a guy told me like a baboon like jumped into his taxi and like looked at himself in the mirror like this and then ripped it off and ran out. And he's like,
wow.
Yeah. He goes, I was so mad. He goes, he looked at himself like he thought he was good looking.
He's like movie baboons,
dude. I mean, it's like the locals hate the baboons because like the baboons just like tear shit up. You know?
They sound rambunctious to say the least.
And so they're the like local Ethiopian people. They're like, oh, I hate the baboon and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, they sound fun. Yeah. And like they know how to party. They come in, they're just like, woo. And I was like, I guess that 50-foot wall didn't stop them.
I guess not.
No. We actually went down into the jungle too. And we got to walk around in the jungle.
Wow.
And like you know you see those big leaves that catch the water and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They had just rained, so there's all this water in it, and it was like crystal clear water. And we were like drinking the water from the thing, and the guy's like, "Yeah," he's like, "It's clean water. You won't get sick." I was like, "Oh, it's amazing. It's crystal clear water," and drank it, and we got sick.
No.
We got sick, but the weirdest part was we saw this baboon chilling in a tree, and he started masturbating in front of us. Yeah, and I was like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "He's masturbating," and the guy goes, "He in fact is masturbating." And I go, "Oh wow." And then my buddy Johnny started like laughing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the baboon runs down and starts going towards him. He starts running, and he's like, "Oh shit!" He's like running. He's like, "Guys, help, help, help!" And I'm like, "The banana in your back pocket. Throw it, throw it." He had a banana in his back pocket. He checked the banana, and it stopped and grabbed the banana and ate it. He's like, "You guys are gonna let him kill me?" And we're like, "What are we gonna do, man? Yeah. Like, the baboon will kill all of us. We can't stop him."
Don't laugh at baboons masturbating.
Yeah.
I didn't know baboons masturbate. So I learned something.
I was surprised too. But I was like, well, you know, it's nature. We're in your house.
Right.
You do your thing.
Were you wearing a revealing shirt? Did he just did you just get him in the mood?
I was wearing a crop top.
And you said you also performed at Guantanamo Bay?
Yeah, Guantanamo Bay.
What is that like?
Okay, so we flew into Guantanamo Bay, and it's like a mini town. It feels like, and the prison is on one end, and then everything else is on the other end. And the prisoners, from what I hear, this is what the guards are telling me, like the prisoners get like whatever they ask for. So they're like getting like Xboxes and like,
really?
Whatever. Yeah, I guess because like, I don't know, supposedly they have good lawyers or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, who is your lawyer? Johnny Cochran?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on here, but
wow.
Yeah. So, and you can't wear your real name tag because they'll find out like, if they find out your real name, like they look up like your family and they could send like messages through the PlayStation and stuff like that.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So like they all wear like names that say like, I don't know, like Cupcake or like what? Yeah. It's just weird stuff. Like whatever, like, you know, Smoothie Man or.
What was your alias?
I didn't go in. They don't let you go in because
okay.
they're like, it's like a danger and stuff like that.
Well,
so,
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you said it's like a town?
Yeah, it's like a town. They have like everything there, bars and stuff like that. They have a really amazing outdoor stage that like all the performers come out and perform on.
Oh, wow.
And so we did Halloween and there was a guy there, like everyone was dressed up on Halloween. So it's like a bunch of soldiers out there all dressed up. And one guy's wearing a diaper and he was like a baby.
Yeah.
Baby. And he had a cast on his arm. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, that's sick. Like, you're a baby, but you have a broken arm. And he's like, yeah, premature masturbation. I was like, whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're like, they have like really hardcore senses of humor and stuff like that. So you can just say whatever, and these dudes are like, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's from what I've been told that they're a great audience because they're just
amazing.
Happy to have
the best
some
audiences, yeah, for sure, man. I have like always the best times like doing shows for the troops over there, and like when we are over there, they'll like take you on the boats and stuff like that. And I remember we were going on the boat. And they're like, oh, we can't go past here. And I was like, why not? And they're like, oh, because they'll just like, that's like crossing lines. So
yeah.
they'll just like shoot a missile over and blow you up or something like that. Yeah. So like you can't cross like certain areas and stuff. Like, wow. Yeah. So, but I've also like, now they kind of opened up, didn't they? They opened up like the doors to go into Cuba now. So you can just go into Cuba.
Right.
So I went to Havana actually recently.
Cool.
Yeah. Not to perform, just to go.
Yeah. Just
to Havana.
check it out.
Check it out, right? Yeah. It was great. I had a great time there. Damn. It wasn't as crazy as like Guantanamo Bay. But.
Well, I'm sure. You did say something that blew my mind, that they actually have a Taco Bell in Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah, there's the Taco Bell. There's McDonald's. McDonald's is like the drive-thru and everything. Like, let's get it. You know, yeah.
I just can't imagine like if those employees were just working in like Topeka, Kansas. And they're like, hey, do you want to relocate? Oh, right. Where? It's a big pay increase. Guantanamo Bay. Like, I just can't imagine.
I think a lot of the employees there are like I think Jamaica. I think that's where a lot of the employees are from.
Okay.
So like a lot of people will come in and they pay more to like work there. So you come there and you work there for however long and send money back to their family. And
right.
Stuff like that.
I mean, yeah, that's terrific.
Yeah. So,
and it totally makes sense because I mean, there's all these, military people and then their families, like you need to actually have like a whole community. But it's just when you think Guantanamo Bay, you don't also think like, oh, Taco Bell, I can get a chalupa.
Yeah, Walmart, everything. Wow. Man. I was up in there. I was like,
well, I'm curious, during any of these shows, performing at military bases and stuff, were you ever fearful for your life? Because it seems as though you've almost died other times.
Yeah. One time when I was doing a show, I think it was, we were in Iraq, and they started shooting missiles when we were on base. Yeah, and I didn't know. I started like freaking out, and they're like, "No, you idiot! We're shooting the missiles."
Oh, that was going to be my question.
And I was like, "Oh, I just saw like," and I was like, "Ah!"
No heads up. Oh my god, dude, that had to be terrifying.
No heads up. No heads up. I got in trouble too because like we had like this little like room we were staying in. I don't even know what it was. It was just kind of like a platform, and then they just kind of made a shelter. Yeah. And we were staying in there, and then the bathrooms were really, really far. So like you get out and you have to like walk really, really, really far to go use the bathroom and stuff like that. And it's like there's no lights or anything, so it's like hard to find your way over there and stuff like that. It's just a porta potty. You like have to try. And I was like, it was really late, and I was like, I went out and I was just like, oh man, I'm not gonna walk all the way. So I just pee right outside of the thing and stuff. And in the morning, one of the commanders goes, he goes, hey man, he goes, can you believe this? He goes, one of the guys, he goes, you can tell me who it was. One of the guys comes out. He doesn't even walk to the bathroom. We hear him peeing outside, just this loud stream. And I go, really? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, you know who did that? I go, I was asleep. I don't know.
I know nothing.
Yeah. I was like, I'm like, damn savages won't even walk to the damn porta potty. I'm like, it's not even that far. And he goes, I know. He goes, can't even follow protocol. They're gonna piss right outside.
Like, how do they sleep at
Yeah.
night?
He goes, me and the major are in there. We can hear this stream. And I was like, oh.
But they didn't come out.
Yeah.
They were upset about it, but too lazy to actually confront it.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you said that you did.
Yeah.
You've almost died like 3 times.
3 times. So
This
okay.
is fascinating.
Well, I guess we'll start youngest to oldest.
Yeah, let's do that.
So when I was really young, my parents are from New York. So
Okay.
Yeah. So my
City
mom,
or upstate or
Bronx.
oh, Bronx. Okay.
Yeah. So my mom is Puerto Rican, my dad's Czechoslovakian.
Okay.
And so they were like, okay, New York's like crazy, like just weird stuff happens in New York. You know? Like there's like somebody on like a subway throwing acid on people's face and stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah.
Like my mom one time was like walking down the street and somebody pulled a knife on her and tried to rob her, and but she's like, she always has a gun on her, so she pulled a gun out of her purse and tried to rob the guy back. It was just
Oh, that's
this
awesome.
weird thing. Yeah.
I mean, terrifying, but awesome.
Terrifying. She's nuts. So anyway, they were like, okay, well, let's move to California because it's nicer. And my dad's job got relocated. So we moved down to California. And it's myself, my mom, my dad, my older brother, my younger brother, who's like a little kid at this time. And I'm pretty little as well.
How old were you?
Maybe like 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So we moved to this place called Claremont. You're familiar with Claremont, right?
Yeah. How far is that from LA? Like,
maybe like it depends. LA is
Wow.
like traffic. Like
Well,
it's
that's
never, the streets are never clear. So
Yeah.
if you're driving at 2 a.m.
Right.
or like, 3 a.m, you probably can get there in 4 minutes.
right. Yeah. It's only like 20 miles away, but it feels
But
like
you drive right now, it's 7 days.
Right, yeah,
Journey.
yeah.
Yeah. You'll lose someone on the way, like the Oregon Trail.
yep, somebody's going to get dysentery. You got to keep moving.
Yeah, you got to keep moving. So anyway, we moved to Claremont, and we are in this small apartment.
Yeah.
And my older brother and my dad go out to go get some food during that time. And my mom hears a knock on the door, and she looks at the people, and she sees this guy standing there, but he's kind of standing kind of far back from the door, like
Okay.
not traditional, like how you would stand at a door. And he has like a big duffel bag. And my mom's like, yeah, what do you want? And he goes, oh, I'm a friend of your husband's. My mom's like, my husband doesn't have any friends. She knows my dad's a loser. So the guy's like all mad. He walks away, and she's like, "What the hell? These people trying to." And she's like going to cook and stuff, and she hears like a rattle on the fence, and she opens up the blinds, and she sees this guy jumped over the fence, and he opens up his duffel bag, and he pulls out a big butcher knife, and he starts slicing up the screen window, and she's like, "Holy shit!" So she runs into where I'm at, and my brother, and she grabs us, and she opens up. What do you call it? Like an attic?
Yeah,
and she puts me and my younger brother in there, and she goes, okay, whatever you hear, don't make any noise. Just don't make any noise. And she's like, please just don't make any noise. And I remember she closed the attic, and then I hear a bunch of screaming, and then I hear glass break. And then I'm just sitting there for 5 minutes and nothing, and then 10 minutes, nothing. And I'm trying to make sure my brother doesn't make any noise, but then I'm not. 20 minutes goes by, and I'm trying to make sure I don't make any noise. I start crying and stuff like that.
Because you're 6.
Yeah. And then I remember I see the attic open a little bit, and my mom reaches in, she pulls me and my younger brother out, and it's all this broken glass and stuff. My dad and my older brother had come back, and they're standing there. And what happened was my dad forgot his wallet, so he drove back, and the guy saw the lights of the car, so then he jumped back over and ran out and left.
Holy shit.
So yeah, he luckily my dad came back because he was so what happened was this guy's a serial killer.
I was going to ask who this guy was. Yeah.
He went by the Claremont Killer. And he's a serial killer, and what he would do is he would watch. He would target a woman, and he would wait till their man would leave, their husband or whatever significant other would leave, and then when he saw they would leave, he would go and knock on the door and just be like, "Hey, I'm friends with that person," and then they'd be like, "Oh, okay," and let him in, and then he would just kill them when they let him in.
Wow.
Yeah. So my mom, a little more street savvy, and you know, she's from New York and stuff like that. She doesn't trust anybody. No. Like my mom one time hit a guy with her car and then at night and then got out of the car and the guy's like, oh, please don't kill me and stuff like that. She's like, what the hell are you doing dressed all in black? What the hell? She's like, you wearing all black walking across the street. She's like, you lucky I don't kill you right now. Get out from under my car. And she started kicking him. She's like, you idiot. She's like, look at my car. You messed my car up. Like she doesn't care. Like she's just like, what the hell? I'm like, Mom, you almost killed that man. She goes, well, what the hell is he doing wearing a whole black jumpsuit and stuff like that? Like walking around these streets like that.
She got out of his head real quick that he's going to be able to press charges or anything like
she's
that.
Like kicking him to get up from under the car. She's like, get out. And he's like, oh my gosh. And she's like, geez. And she gets in the car. She's like, ruining my day. Like, oh man.
Wow. So how much longer after this incident with you happened did they catch this guy? Do you know?
I was really young, so
Right.
I don't remember all the details
Sure.
and stuff like that. So I kind of like retell the story from like how my mom has told me the story a bunch of times, and like I've heard her tell it to other people. But I remember she told me she like went to like court and stuff like that when he was getting like convicted and stuff like that. So
Wow.
yeah, so.
What was that like? I mean, I don't know how well you remember it, but just being in the attic,
Yeah,
and just having no idea what was going on.
I didn't know what was going
terrifying.
on. It's like as a kid, like you're like your imagination time seems like you never know. Like you don't think I can just get myself out of these situations. You're so codependent on people and stuff like
Right.
that. So you're just like, I'm gonna live in this attic forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my new home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Did you see the guy hacking away at did you see him doing anything?
no, because I was over in a corner.
Okay.
So yeah.
Because I bet that would have been even worse
Oh,
if you
yeah.
actually known what was going on.
Yeah, so I just know like from like my mom what she saw and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, and
That's
then like my dad
nuts.
telling me the story. And
Wow.
stuff. And I guess like my older brother started chasing him and stuff like that. Like to go like my older brother loves to fight, so he like immediately was like, all right, fist fight, and like just like started chasing him. My mom's like, no, Joey, he has a knife. He's like, oh, forget that. But like automatically, he's just like literally my brother Joey is like he's in his late 40s right now.
Okay.
And I can't say his real age because if he sees this, he'll get mad.
Sure.
So he'll be like,
I won't press you on it. That's
yeah.
fine.
Because he's like, I need these girls to think I'm still young. Like he goes to the nightclubs and dances.
Oh,
and stuff.
okay. All right.
So like literally, I was in Twin Falls, Idaho, performing, and he comes out, and then after the show, the owner of the theater is like, hey man, he goes, if you guys want, they got great restaurants around here, you know, if you want to eat and stuff like that. He's naming some place off, and my brother Joe, he goes, cut the shit, bro. Where's the club? I'm like, what? And the guy's looking at him like, because my brother's older than him. He's like, what? This guy wants to go to the club? And he goes, we're in Twin Falls, Idaho. I don't think there's any club. And then my brother's like, yeah, some help you are. And he looks up a nightclub. He finds like the one nightclub like in Twin Falls. It's in a warehouse. I don't even know if it's a legit club.
Right, yeah.
It's literally like in like just a building, like an empty building, abandoned building. We go in there. He like walks up to the bartender and he's like, what's up? He's like, give me some bottle service. And the guy's like, we have Bud Light and Coors.
Right. Yeah.
The guy didn't know what.
12-pack? I don't.
Yeah. And he's like, no. He goes, that bottle right there. And he points to the Grey Goose. And the guy goes, yeah. And he goes, how much did you pay for that? And the guy's like, I don't know, like $60. And he goes, cool. He goes, I'll give you $120 for it. And just like. The guy's like,
Okay.
My brother like takes the bottle. He's like pouring shots down people's throat inside there. Like everyone just thought like this is the owner or something. It's like this older dude just going to people. They're like, wow. What?
Yeah, who's this hurricane that just flew through Idaho and then was gone that night? I bet they still talk about him.
So he does that, and he gets like really drunk. He's getting everyone drunk. He's like dancing with all these girls and stuff like that. And then like I look over, I'm like talking to somebody. I turn over, and he's like beating up some like 20-something-year-old kid. Like he's like punching him and stuff, and the guy's like shirt's ripped, and the guy's like, ah.
Wow.
And my brother's like gets kicked out of the club. My brother gets kicked out of the club. I'm like, what? Like what the hell? So I had to leave with them.
I hope all this happened in a 5-minute period.
This all happened like in a 5-minute period, dude. It was insane. And so I'm like, what the hell happened? He goes, man, the guy, he's just started talking shit. He was jealous because I was getting all these young girls backing it up on me. He tried to talk some shit, so I had to give him the 2-piece and a biscuit. I was like, what? What? So I was just like, I can't believe it. And he's just like in the parking lot shadow boxing. He's like, yeah, I still got it. He's just like, I'm like, okay, man, I guess. We got kicked out of you were getting kicked out of nightclubs at this age. Okay.
Yeah, all right. What does your brother do for a living?
He's an accountant.
I love it. That's what I was hoping. Yeah. I was hoping he's just like some, a normal dude. Probably very pleasant in the office.
Yeah, he's very. But he wears polos all the time, bright like pastel colored polos. So he's like, hey.
I don't mean to laugh at him. Don't kick my ass.
I've seen him beat. Okay, this is how crazy. I've seen him get in at least 3 fights.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've seen him. That one recently. One when I was like in college. He came down to party with us in college.
Oh, God.
He's like, you guys going to a frat party or something? I'm like, yeah, I guess we're going to go to a house party. He's like, cool, I'll come with you. He's like, I'll buy some alcohol. He like brings alcohol. He's like, and then we're like at a taco place after all drunk. And he's like eating a taco. And he's like, is that guy talking shit to me? I'm like, what? No. I'm like, he's like, hey, man. He goes, I'm going to give you a few seconds to shut up. And the guy's like, oh, what are you going to do about it? He just walks up and just punches him in the face, and the guy's like, oh, and then his 2 friends are sitting there, so he just punches them too. They're like, oh, and he comes and sits back down and starts eating his burrito. He's like, I think they'll shut up now. I'm like, oh, wow.
Were they even talking in your direction?
I don't know. She's just weird. Like, I didn't even notice it. Like, I was just like, all of a sudden I look over and he's like yelling at these guys. I'm like, what is he yelling at them about? And then they're just like getting punched in the face, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow.
So yeah, and then he sits down, finishes the burrito, and goes. And then another time we were in a grocery store, and
sure,
yeah, this is just bizarre. So we're in a grocery store, and so I guess this dad was walking by, his son, and I was with 2 of my friends,
okay.
And the dad, I guess, maybe bumped one of my friends with a carriage or something. I don't know what happened. He hit him with the carriage or hit him with his elbow or something like that. And so my buddy tells my brother Joey. My brother Joey's like, "What? That guy hit you?" He's like,
oh, God.
He's a grown man. And so my brother Joey like confronts him, and he's like, "What are you doing, man? Touching kids and stuff like that." And the guy's like, "Get out of my way!" And just try to push him out of the way. Then my brother Joey just like left hook knocks him out like boom, and the guy's just like down on the floor like bleeding like. And it was like the most insane thing. And so my brother Joey's like yelling at him like staying over him, and then the guy gets up, and then like they're like, "You need to get out of here." So he's been kicked out of a nightclub and a grocery store. And then he gets out. The guy's like, I'm going to go to the police, and I'm going to tell on you. And then my brother's like, well, I'm going to the police and telling you. So they both jump in their car and they race to the police station to go tell on each other.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
were you in the car for this?
Yeah. He's like, get in the car, and he's like gunning it, and they're both like trying to jump red lights to go tell on each other to the police, and they both run into the station like, he did it.
What'd the police do? Did it just cancel out? They're like,
I think he got in trouble because he punched him.
Right. I'm sure there was security camera footage of that.
Yeah. So like my brother's like, but he touched me first. He bumped me with the carriage. It's like, but you broke his nose.
Right. That doesn't quite add up.
Yeah.
He inadvertently touched your cart.
Yeah. Exactly. So
I just love the idea that it's just a very pleasant accountant who just seems nice on the surface, but has all this anger brewing underneath.
It's like, I'm like, you need to go to Fight Club.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, so you survived death at age 6.
Oh yeah. So then second one at 17. So I was living in San Diego, and I was in military school at that time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I was over at this place called Army Navy Academy.
Okay.
And I had a buddy that was like, hey, let's go to Fiesta Island. Fiesta Island's not as great. It's just like where people ride like jet skis and boats and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And like, so I was like, okay, cool. So I'm like, okay, let's go. So we go with his family, and I remember like they had a jet ski and they only had one. So I was like, okay, well, you can go, and then, whatever, I'll go after, or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. And he goes, no, come on, get on the back. And I was like, I don't trust you.
I was hoping I didn't have to say this.
Yeah. And he goes, oh no, it's gonna be fine. I'm like, okay, just don't go fast because I don't trust you.
Right.
I remember distinctly saying, I don't trust you. And then his dad's like, okay, let's you guys got to put on some life vests. And like he puts on a life vest, and we can't find a second one. And I'm like, it's okay. What's the worst that can happen? Let's just go. And the dad's like, no, we're finding a life vest. So he makes me wait like 20 minutes to find a life vest. And he finally finds one. I put one on, and I'm like, it's really tight, and it's just pushing my boobs together.
Nice.
And so I'm like, all right, cool. So I get on the back, and we start like driving.
Yeah.
And like, I remember like he started like gunning it, and I was like, slow down. And then I just black out.
Oh God.
Yeah. That's the last thing I remember saying is like, slow down, slow down, slow down. I black out and I wake up and then these guys are cutting my pants off.
Oh.
And I'm like, no, those are my favorite board shorts.
Not my board shorts.
No, bro. Oh. I was like, no, that has a unicorn eating a donut on it.
Oh wow.
No, I don't know what they had on it. I just remember they were my favorite board shorts. I remember saying that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, those are my favorite board shorts. And they're cutting them. And then I black out again. And I'm like, oh. And I wake up and I have like IVs in my arm and shit like that. And I'm like,
oh God.
Oh, like this. And I was like, oh, and I look around and I'm like, oh man, and I have to like use the bathroom really bad. So I go like, and I see the sign says like, don't, if you have to use the bathroom, don't get up, just use the pan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Nah, I'm going to go use the bathroom. And I get up and like the cord that's in my arm just like pops out and then just blood starts shooting all over the room. And I'm like, whoa. And it's like literally like, it's like streaming out. It's just like, and I'm like trying to cover it. I'm like, oh no, what do I do? And I'm like in the hallway just bleeding and shit like that. It's like shooting everywhere. And then someone sees me and they're like, what are you doing? Did you not read the sign? And I'm like, I thought I would be like, could do it myself.
Yeah.
And so then they have to put like the needle back in me and to stop the bleeding and stuff like that. And they're like, don't get up. And so I was like, oh shit. So like they come in and they're like, and I'm like in like such crazy pain. And I'm like, what happened? And they're like, oh, so what happened was like the jet ski was driving and then this boat was driving. It clipped the back of the jet ski. So I only got hit. My buddy didn't get hit. I just got nailed. And so it nailed me and I fly off. I get knocked out in the air. I fall in the water face down. And then I'm just like bobbing in the water like this face down. And some guy on the boat jumped, from what I hear, because, I wasn't awake.
No. Yeah.
And so somebody jumped off the boat and then pulled me like out of the water so I didn't drown and stuff like that. But like,
where was your friend?
He was a pussy. He didn't do anything. He just
gonna
sat
let
there
you
and
die?
looked at me. He was just gonna let me die. He was gonna let me die, and he also didn't listen to me, and he drove quick and got me hit.
That had to be an awkward conversation once you were awake. Hey.
No, he didn't even care. Like he was just like whatever, like about it. I was like, oh my God. That's when I was like, I can't talk to this guy anymore.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good indication.
Yeah.
Probably not. Have you talked to him? Did you never talk to him again?
He got me into another accident too one time.
Really?
That was like a minor one, but it was kind of similar, and I should have learned from that one. But
no,
yeah, didn't.
This time you did.
This time I did. This time I was like, this guy's just an awful driver. No one should ever let him drive.
So did you have like broken bone or like
yeah. So I had internal bleeding on my spleen and kidney, and then I had some like cracked ribs.
Wow.
Yeah. So like the impact, and like that's like through a bunch of padding too. So imagine if I didn't have that like that life vest on.
Right.
Like that would have just shattered like everything.
Yeah.
So because I mean that's like a thick like impact.
Oh
like,
yeah.
You can block off of. So it went through all that and just like shattered my ribs and stuff. So I was just like in the hospital. I couldn't get up, and like I was in there for a while. And then I remember when I like first got out, like I couldn't like my legs were really weak. And I remember like I was in like Blockbuster, and this is when Blockbuster was around,
Oh, those are the days.
And I knocked over like a DVD or something like that. And I went to go pick it up, and I couldn't stand back up because my legs were so weak.
Oh
yeah. So I was like
just like hunched over.
Yeah, from that like accident. Yeah.
What was the movie?
I don't remember what the movie was.
Surf Ninjas.
Maybe it was like, yeah.
Did you ever see that?
No, I didn't see that.
It was, I don't know why that popped into my head. It was like 96. And so it was after Three Ninjas had come out.
Oh, yeah. I know.
And they were like,
Ninjas.
let's do ninjas with surfing. And Leslie Nielsen's the villain.
Oh, wow.
There's a young Rob Schneider in it.
Oh, no way.
Got red hair. It is a classic. In fact, I don't know why it popped in my head, but I'm going to watch it.
Hogan did a Three Ninjas too.
Yeah,
right?
he did something High Noon or something. I can't remember. It was like the fourth three. I know a lot about the Three Ninjas movies.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I'm going to have a marathon watch all the Three Ninjas. Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum.
That movie, like this, the belief your mind can go to that like a 9-year-old kid or whatever can beat up a grown man with like karate kicks.
The equivalent would be that you were home alone and that Claremont killer came and then you just took care of it.
Yeah. I'm just like,
you and your 3-year-old brother
Yeah.
threw some fucking jelly beans at him and then somehow killed him or whatever. Yeah. I should watch that again to see how many people they take out. And then they have the grandfather. So it's like an 80-year-old man and 3 children take down an entire crime wave in Los Angeles. Movies were simpler back then.
I know, right? It's like that and Ernest.
How many? There were like what, 8 Ernest movies?
Yeah, I love the Halloween one.
Yep, that one, Scared Stupid.
Yeah, that was so good.
Yep.
You're fighting like goblins or whatever they are with milk. He's like, ew.
Know what I mean, Vern?
Yeah. Milk, it's milk. He's like, all right. He's like shooting like sour cream at him and stuff. They're like,
So you were in military academy. Mm-hmm. Was that by choice? Were you
I got sent to military
kid?
school for making counterfeit money.
Really?
Yeah. So
Could you elaborate? Would you be willing to?
Yeah, we can elaborate.
Please.
So anyway, when I was like younger, one of my buddies, his dad owned a print shop. So I used to go over and hang out there. And when you're there for like ever, you just get bored and stuff. So we're like, oh, we should try to make counterfeit money. That sounds fun. And we like were trying, but like we couldn't get like the consistency of the paper right. So it just always felt like super fake, you know what I mean? And then like one day I remember somebody was like mopping and they knocked over a little bit of bleach, and I was like bleach. And so I took some of the bleach and I put it into like a little bucket, and then I put a couple dollars in there. I left them overnight, and then I came back the next day and I pulled them out, and all of like the ink had stripped off the dollar. And I was like, holy shit, we could print on these. So we started printing like 10s and 20s on them. Shit. Yeah, and they looked legit, you know what I mean? And they felt real because they were like the real papers like that. And then we just started like using that and stuff like that.
How long did you get away with it?
Not like that long. Eventually my parents found like money in my closet, and they're like, how does this kid have more than $3?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
We know what your allowance is.
Yeah, exactly. So they're like, my mom thought I was a drug dealer. Yeah.
That's a funny conversation to have there. No, Mom, I'm not a drug dealer. I'm just making counterfeit money.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, okay, a federal offense. All right.
It's amazing how resourceful. How old were you? Like
13,
15? Yeah. Like how resourceful. Because I was the same way. I wasn't making. We just made boob pogs. We had a pog maker. Do you remember pogs?
Oh, of course.
And we just grabbed a friend of mine. We grabbed his dad's Playboy and then just made pogs of the boobs. And then we got busted, and then I couldn't go to his house for a while. I was like 7. And I was always scheming and stuff. And I was sold Pokemon cards. I'd drive to the card shop and then sell them for 3 times their value.
Oh, nice.
At school. There was a year that in 5th grade, we came up with that same friend. We called it Thunder Sugar. Which was just Ziploc bags of a white powder. So they thought we were drug dealers. It was just sugar and Kool-Aid packets.
No way.
And we'd have different flavors and stuff. Yeah. And everybody like we'd just show up with like a lunch bag full of white powder and sell it. And we were writing it on the chalkboard, like, get at us at lunch, Thunder Sugar, 50 cents a bag.
See, why aren't people being like if I saw that, I'd be like a parent or a teacher, I'd be like, oh man, this kid is smarter than the rest. This kid's already like making business moves. Like they're doing the right thing.
Exactly.
Like, why do they get mad at you for doing that kind of stuff?
I know.
I got in trouble for selling cigarettes. That's different.
Well, I was with you. I was with you for like a split second.
Yeah.
Well,
I thought that you're like, well, that's way different. Yeah, that's bad.
Hey, you know what? You were finding a source of income.
Yeah.
How old were you? 9?
This was This was when I was in military school.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's everybody was just that was the cool thing to do was smoke cigarettes.
Of course.
Like, you know what I mean? Because in military school and you see all these old military videos and they're smoking and stuff like that. So that's like everyone's like hoorah, they're like smoking cigarettes and stuff. So the crazy thing was my mom used to sell fake Louis Vuitton purses out of the trunk.
Nice.
So she used to pop the trunk and she'd be like, hey, tell your friends if they want to get stuff for their mom, nice gift, and then she would like kind of convince them and tell them it's real Louis Vuitton purses. And then they'd buy them and then a week later they'd fall apart. But she'd be long gone. You couldn't find her. She's gone. So she's selling these fake
like Kaiser Soze, just gone.
Yeah. So after she like exhausted her resources on who people she could sell to. I told her, I was like, hey, people are like, buying like cigarettes at school and stuff like that. They're always looking for cigarettes and stuff. And she goes, and she goes and gets me like a bunch of cigarettes, like cartons.
Right.
And stuff like
that.
And I start flipping them at school. And I'm making a ton of money. And I'm like bringing it in back to her and stuff like that. And, so we got this whole operation going. And I would come through with like maybe a couple cartons every day and just sell them all. Boom, 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 boom. And And I guess they started catching kids, and they were like, "Who's the dealer?" and stuff like that. And it was like me. So then I got told on. So one of the captains like comes up and he's like, "Hey, Steven, can I talk to you?" And I was like, after school, and I had my backpack. I was like, "Oh yeah," and I was ready to go. Like, and he like searches my bag. They find those cigarettes. They break open my locker. They find another stash. They find my car. They rip open the car. They find some bottles of wine. They go, "That's not mine. I don't know how they got there."
Of course, yes.
Of course, I don't know how any of this got here. They take me in and stuff like that. They bring my mom in and stuff like that. And they're like, "Yeah," and stuff like that. And I was like, they're like, "Yeah, and your son's been selling this." And I go, "Well, she knows." And she goes, "I had no idea."
Yeah, I was gonna say, you brought your mom down with you.
How dare you? Yeah. I was a rat. I fell under pressure and told on her.
Something tells me you didn't get in trouble at home for that one.
No, I did.
I wouldn't think so.
No. She goes, "Well, they shut down our operation."
But I love that. I love finding creative ways to make some money.
The crazy thing was like she goes, "I had no idea. Are you serious?" She starts yelling, and she goes, and then they go, "Yeah, we found out." Because one of the kids we caught, he told us that Steven did it. And then she like looks over and she goes, "What's that kid's name?"
Yeah. And then he got some stitches. Wow.
She goes, "We're going to take care of him." She shut down her operation. She's ready to take him out.
Wow. So did you end up graduating from the military academy?
Yeah, I made it. My younger brother didn't. He got kicked out.
Ah, all right.
Yeah, he's real hardcore though. He's way over the top.
All right, so now your third story of cheating death. So now what? You're out of high school?
I'm out of high school. This is like 3 years ago. So I'm over at this thing called the Big Sky Comedy Festival in Montana, and I guess everyone else flew up to it, but I've been like touring consistently, like just like driving and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've been doing this for like ever. So I was like, I just fit it into my tour. Yeah. So like, cause that's how I was making my living. I was like, okay, like I didn't have like a regular job. It's just like, but I just barely making it by, but I have to like just,
hustle.
And I can't be flying everywhere. I had to drive everywhere and stuff, cause you got all the merch in the back,
right.
And you're going place to place, you save some money, you're like, oh, so I'm driving. And I get to Montana. I do this festival. After the festival, I'm driving back, and I hit a patch of black ice, and the car just flips over and just.
Shit!
Yeah, it rolls a bunch of times, and like all the windows explode. It's like all the windows were up, and it's like, and like I'm like rolling over, and like a branch like catches my car and stuff like that from falling over and stuff, and. And I was like, oh shit. And I'm like kind of sideways and stuff. And I'm like, oh man. And I like crawl out of the wreckage because the door won't open. And I'm like, look at a sign. And it says like 22 miles to the next town. And it's like snowing right now. And I'm like looking for my phone. And I'm looking in the car, and I realize my phone's not in the car. Like it flew out. Yeah. And my phone's white. So it's in the snow somewhere. But I don't know where it's at. Yeah. And I'm like looking, I'm like searching through all the snow. It takes me like an hour and a half. I finally find my phone. I'm like, thank God. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I look at the phone, and it's still working. Like the snow hasn't melted and killed it with the water or anything. I'm like, thank God. I'm like, oh my gosh, my answers are prayer. My prayers are answered. And I go like to call, and I have no service.
Oh, because you're in the middle of nowhere.
And I'm like, holy shit. And I haven't seen a car drive by in an hour and a half that I've looked for this thing. And it like, I can't go in the car because the windows are broken. So, the wind's still coming in and snow coming into the car. Yeah.
So there's no cover.
There's no cover. And I put like all my clothes on, and I'm like, it's too cold. Like I'm eventually like, I don't know if I can sleep out here. Like this is very cold, Yeah. And
how's your body?
My body's freezing.
Well, but I mean, like, are you?
Oh, I'm like in vertigo and stuff like that. So like, because my
adrenaline and vertigo.
I when I lay down, my head's like spinning and stuff. Shit. Okay. So I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like waiting, and it starts to get darker, and I'm like, shit. I'm like gonna have to try to like somehow maybe like I don't know, sleep in the trunk or something. Yeah.
Lock yourself in the trunk.
Yeah, but then you're fucked too, because like let's say like you sleep in the trunk, and then the car or the battery's dead and stuff like that, and you're trying to get out of the trunk, you're screwed, So like that's like a worry too. Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure there's like a latch in there, but when you're like there, you're like thinking about all these worst things that can happen to you, and the wolves come and get you.
Yeah, exactly. You start hearing those.
I'm like, oh no, it's Thriller and stuff like that.
Dancing wolves.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So what happened?
those Icemen from Game of Thrones start coming at me. I'm like, oh, White Walkers.
I'm just envisioning like in Fargo, somebody, just these endless roads where nobody's going by. Somebody stops and kills somebody, and you witness that. And
right.
Wow. All sorts of terrible things.
So eventually, somebody drives by and like flag them down. They're like, oh man, they're like, hey, look, we don't have any reception, but we'll drive in the next town and we'll get somebody to come back.
Yeah.
And so they get paramedics to drive back, and paramedics drive back, and they're like, hey, listen, we'll go get an ambulance because we don't have any service.
Yeah.
I don't know why they just didn't drive me into town. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So I didn't even question them. I'm like,
wait,
sure.
So they didn't offer you to get in the car?
No.
They're like, you just stay here.
Yeah, I think so. I think they said, yeah, well, actually, yeah, 100% they did. Yeah, they did. That's weird, right? Now, I didn't even think about how weird that was until now. I was like, okay with it. So they drive into town, they get paramedics to come back. Paramedics come back.
Oh, at least they came back.
The paramedics did.
Right, yeah.
So the paramedics come, and they're like, and when the paramedics gets out of the car, and he's like, oh, man, he goes, this is probably the worst accident you've ever been in. And I go, well, one time I was hit by a boat. And he goes, all right. And then the second paramedic gets out, and he just starts trying to joke with me. He because my car's upside down. He goes, oh, my dog does that trick. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he goes, yeah, roll over.
We got Abbott and Costello saving you here.
It's the weirdest thing. I'm like, okay. And then he goes, oh, this is a terrible accident. This is probably the worst accident this guy's ever been in. And then the first guy goes, no, he was hit by a boat. And then the second dude goes, oh, I see we got ourselves a little surf and turf accident, man. And I was just like, what the hell is going on, man? And I'm like, look, guys, I just need to get like somewhere where I can get a hotel for the night. And they're like, okay, cool, we'll drive you into town. And they're like, how do you feel? I'm like, I feel weird that you guys are joking with me right now. Let's just go. And so we go and we get into town, and I'm like, I'm trying to find out is there I get a room, and then I'm like I need to get like a taxi or something because there's no rental car service. So I was like, I need to get a taxi to the airport or like a Uber. Is there Uber or anything? They're like, there is Uber. And I'm like, all right, cool. And they're like, there's one Uber driver in town. And I'm like, what? One Uber driver? Yeah. They're like, yeah, you got to call him, and then he'll turn on his service, and then he'll decide if he wants to drive you. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, you just got to call him. And so then I call him, and I'm like, hey, man, I was like trying to get a ride to the airport. And he goes, okay. He goes, listen, man, you want to do this off the books? Like, off the books. Like, let's not get Uber involved in this. Like, whatever, I don't care. I just need a ride. He goes, okay, cool. And he goes, I'll pick you up. And he comes, and then I'm like, I need to drive to the airport. And he goes, okay, airport. And he goes, here. And he goes, how are you going to get to the airport? And I go, I don't know, man. And he goes, okay, you don't know? He goes, $250.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I'm like, and I go, shit, are you serious, dude? $250? That's like ridiculous. He goes, I'm the only Uber driver in town. And he goes, if you do it through Uber, it's going to cost you more. And I go, I don't think so.
How far away is this airport?
I don't know, maybe 30 minutes. Yeah. And he's like, $250. He goes, and also, he goes, when we stop at the gas station, I want a sandwich. He makes me buy him a sandwich at the gas station. So I'm like, whatever, dude. I just need to get to the airport. So he drives me to the airport, and it's just like, he's like the weirdest guy. The whole time I'm thinking he's going to murder me.
Sure.
Yeah, because like the way he's talking and stuff like that, he goes, and he's just like driving. He goes, all right. And he goes, so, he goes, that action was pretty bad, yeah. And we're just driving through all these back roads and stuff like that. I'm like, is this the way? He goes, I know a shortcut.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm like, he's like the creepiest dude ever. And then when we stop at the gas station, he goes, all right. He goes, sandwich time. And I go, what kind of sandwich you want? And he goes, surprise me. Okay.
What'd you go with?
I went with roast beef.
Oh, solid choice.
I went and I brought out, and I go, roast beef. He goes, anything but roast beef.
Oh, God.
And I go, what do you want me to do? He goes, go back and exchange it. And I go back and I exchange it for turkey. And I bring it a turkey. And then he goes, oh, turkey makes you sleepy. He goes, that's not a good choice either. Oh, man. well, what are we going to do? And I go back and I get him the last choice, which is ham.
Yeah.
And he goes, sweet.
Sweet ham.
Yeah. So I get him ham and then he drives me the rest of the way.
Oh my God. Are you just sitting in the back seat?
I'm in the front seat.
Oh, you're in the front.
Yeah. I sat in the front seat with him. And the whole time, he was just talking to me about weird stuff.
Were you just preparing yourself mentally?
I was trying to sleep. I had been like destroyed in a car accident.
Well, sure,
and like this guy wouldn't let me like relax. So I was like, this accident right now that we're having verbally is worse than the car accident I just had back there physically. This is mentally draining.
So did you just give up on the car? You weren't going to like tow it or anything?
No, I got. There was actually a tow truck came out with the ambulance.
Oh, okay.
And they towed the car back.
Okay.
And then the car was just done. We just like left it there.
Wow.
Yeah, and my insurance took care of like that.
Good. Okay.
So yeah, but like I literally was like, this car's done. I remember I just like grabbed a few things out of the car, put it in like a bag, and then like bounced and
wow. Yeah, it's crazy. So you never went to a hospital or anything?
No, I didn't go to the hospital.
Wow.
Never went to the hospital.
Didn't seem like it was in the cards with your excellent service staff. Between ambulance drivers.
I flew into New York.
Yeah.
I caught a flight to New York, landed, and I had and I like made it to like a show. Like I had a show that night in New York.
Wow.
So yeah, I ended up like just getting off the plane and catching like a Uber right over to the show, and with my luggage, I just put my luggage down, went on stage.
Yeah.
Also
like, a $250 Uber.
Hey, what's up, guys? Like, I just got out of a car accident.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, did you have a bunch of bruises and shit all over you? Or?
I think I did have bruises, but they weren't like where like you would see them like my face wasn't like I didn't look like a boxer after a match or anything like that. Like
so yeah,
like my neck and like my shoulder and like all over here was like really bruised up because I like was slamming like this.
Right.
So
and all the glass and everything.
Yeah, and like I had glass embedded into my head too.
Oh God.
I remember like days later I was still picking glass out of my skull. Yeah, so I'd be like going like this and like a piece of glass would come out. I'd be like, oh man. So like there's a bunch of like shards in my head and stuff like that, and like in my face too. Like I remember like picking shards out like later on, like days later, like shards would just come out of my ear and stuff like that. Like whoa.
I'm fascinated about this one-man monopoly Uber driver.
Oh yeah.
I wonder, did he even have the Uber app? I wonder if it's.
I don't know.
Dude.
He was the only guy that drive people in town though. Like everyone knew him.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was his name? Do you remember?
I think Gus.
Gus.
Gus was his name. Yeah. Because they just gave it like a posted note. Like I asked at the hotel.
Yeah.
And like I asked a few other people. They all knew him. They were like the same thing. They all said the same thing. And I was like, I don't want to call this random dude. I like, want to find like some kind of service. But like, yeah, he was the only guy.
I really hope that since then somebody else has come in and now there's a competition going on. There's two Uber drivers.
Yeah. Or like they got Lyft.
Yeah, they got a Lyft driver.
Yeah. The Jets versus the Sharks.
Yeah. Two-person feud. But then depending on who you side with, then that affects, it's like if you go against Gus, he's out for you.
Yeah. And then the Lyft driver's name is Russ.
Yeah.
and he only eats roast beef sandwiches.
Wow. This sounds like a show. I think there's something here.
Hey man, there might be, right?
Just a small town. Because all these questions are, like if you apply to be an Uber driver, you have to get inspected and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody was inspecting his car.
Nobody's inspecting his car.
I don't even know if he
he had like a pickup truck. I don't even know if that's like illegal for like Uber. Like I don't see anybody driving pickup trucks.
No, particularly not in LA. But then again, I don't see too many pickup trucks.
Yeah, I don't see that many pickup trucks in LA.
Not really practical, I guess.
No, yeah,
unless you're hauling shit around all over the place.
No, this guy full on pickup.
I was an Uber driver.
That's why there was only like when you said in the back seat. Yeah. There was no back.
There was no back seat.
There was one seat, and it was right next to this man.
Yeah, so you're either next to Creeper Gus, or you're in the back. What the hell is the back? What's the back of a pickup truck called?
It's just the back of a pickup
truck. Back of a pickup truck.
Yeah. Like that.
Yeah, all right. And it's freezing.
Yeah.
So you were going to sit in the front seat? I would have done the same.
Absolutely.
The bed.
Yeah, the bed of the truck. There we go.
There it is.
Yeah.
All right. I feel satisfied now. I always say that because somebody would be listening. Go, it's the bed, you moron.
Yeah. Always. Yeah. You're like, can I call a friend?
Yeah, exactly.
To get the answer.
Insignificant thing to figure out. I was an Uber driver in North Carolina for like 4 months. Mm-hmm. I was living with my grandmother because I went through a brutal breakup. And then I was like, I'm just going to get out of LA. And so I lived with her, and I was an Uber driver. And this was like 2012 or something, 13. And I loved it because it's like everything's just slower in the South. Everyone's just not in a rush. I did it for like a week when I got back to LA. Oh, fuck this. I can't. Because everyone's just hovering over your back. Just, you're taking this route? This route? What
oh, really?
You know, everyone's just always like, I got to get to where I'm going. I'm like, where are you going? Ralph's?
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, there's no rush. The roast beef will be at Ralph's when we get there. But I had a great time in North Carolina. I mean, it was my first Uber drive ever. I was picking up some bridesmaids at a party, or, you know, like the after party.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is either going to be terrible or maybe fun. Yeah. Because they were all drunk, and I was like, you know.
I've never seen sober bridesmaids.
Sure, yeah. And that was appropriate. It was the end of the wedding. They made it through.
Yeah.
So they get
have like a dick whistle.
Yeah.
It's like
something.
the weirdest, some kind of like dick thing. Like dick straw.
Penis gummy bears or something like that.
You know, actually, this wasn't a bride's thing, but I actually performed at a divorce party.
Really?
And it felt like a bridesmaid thing. They had it was the same exact feel. They had a bunch of dick stuff.
Was it just women?
Just women.
Okay, that would make sense. I was wondering if
just women.
The couple was together celebrating their divorce.
It was insane. It was like, this lady had a divorce party. She had a cake made, and it had the ex-husband's face on it with an X through it.
Nice.
Yeah. Then they had a blow-up doll of him with his face on it. All the girls were beating it up and stuff like that. Just like, ah. And then they're playing all these weird games. Like they had a cucumber, and they called it pasta papuna or something like that. I don't know what it passed up. I'm probably butchering the word. But they just like pass the cucumber between each other's legs with it, like just pass it, and they would grab it and stuff. And then they had me do stand up, and then they had my buddy Griff be a male stripper.
Wow.
Yeah. He came, and it was so funny because he was so nervous about it. He had like 10 shots before he did it because he's not like a dancer, or that's not his occupation.
How did he get this gig?
Just because the girl's getting divorced. She's friends with them. I think she finds them cute. So she's like, hey, she asked him, hey, you want to come perform? And he goes, oh yeah, I'd love to do stand up there. And she goes, no, I want you to strip. And he goes, oh, and he was like super nervous. He goes, dude, I don't know how to dance, and I'm not in shape. And he goes, I'm just going to go in there, and I'm going to hump my way through this. 3 songs. And so he goes, and he goes, I need you to hold them down. I wasn't even actually, the way I got to perform was he asked me to come and just warm up them.
Yeah, you get
while
to open.
He gets drunk. Yeah. And then so occupy them. And so like I go out there, and he's like, just give me 10 minutes. He's like, and he said, like, from what I heard, he did like 10 shots.
Yeah.
But he waited way longer. So it's like 20 minutes. And then eventually he's like really nice and drunk, and he knocks on the door, and he's in this like really cheap police outfit. And he goes, I heard there was a disturbance. And he's like looking around. He goes, you ladies have the right to remain silent. And they're like, yeah. One girl goes, yeah, okay. And then music just starts playing. He's like, down. And he's like taking off like his clothes. He starts just humping this girl like on the couch and stuff. And he moves over to the next girl, starts like humping her and stuff like that.
Is he naked?
He's getting naked.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he tries to take his pants off, but he can't get them off because they're too tight. So, like he has to pull out some scissors and start cutting them off.
Oh.
And he's like, and he cuts off the scissors, and he starts like dancing. And now he's so drunk at this point, he walks over to this one girl that's not in the circle, and he walks over to her. He goes, yeah. And he goes like this over to her, and then he reaches over and grabs like a tray of beef and starts trying to feed her it. And I'm like, what is he doing? And by the second song, he's exhausted from just humping girls, so he just lays on the floor. And then they start pouring whipped cream on his body and licking it off, and just like sitting on his face and stuff like that. He's just like, oh
wow.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, I brought a camera and recorded the whole thing.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So
wow,
we have recording of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember what songs he chose?
He like had Pour Some Sugar on Me.
Sure.
Man, I can't remember the other two songs.
Question: What would your 3 songs be if you had to strip in front of?
Oh man, I used to be in a group called Triple D, Dignified Dirty Dancers.
Oh,
yeah.
So do you have experience in this realm?
A little bit, but it was jokey joke stuff.
Sure.
Like we'd go, like my buddy would do this at like birthday parties for people and stuff like that, where he'd just be like, it was like almost like an improv group, but like we'd just take clothes off while doing it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. It was like, it was really weird. And like, I mean, it was like, I was like, this, now looking back, I'm like, this was a terrible idea. But I don't know. It was funny at the time. We're the village people of like
Right.
improv for parties.
I'm trying to think of what my songs would be. I'd probably go maybe Thong Song.
Thong Song, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Do you open with that? You don't open with that though, right?
Well, because I don't know. Because obviously the reveal would be that I would be wearing a thong.
Yeah, so you'd want to hit that at the end, right?
I think so. Because I probably wouldn't go full. I'd probably leave it at thong. The
so
bits and pieces would be popping out. Yeah, go close with Cisco.
Okay, cool.
What would I start with? Kind of a wild card where they're like, what an interesting song choice.
Yeah.
I don't know how this is going to go. Maybe some Cher.
Cher, okay. Nice. Yeah.
Do you believe in life after love?
Maybe Rocket Man.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, maybe just a downer. What if I did the American Pie? Just all 7 minutes of that song.
Oh.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, you just do Queen Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah. Maybe Don't Stop Me Now.
Don't Stop
Queen.
Me
That'd
Now.
actually be a solid choice.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that would actually be it.
Me now.
Yeah.
Having such a good time.
Having a ball.
Yeah, that'd be
There's
good.
some line in there about being a sex machine or something.
Yeah.
Perhaps I'd play Sex Machine.
Oh, there you go.
Little James Brown.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I kind of want to do this thing.
You put together your 3-song performance.
Yeah. Queen, James Brown.
Show up to a burlesque
Song.
show and just
Yeah.
be like, I'm on next.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, no, you're not. Oh, yes, I am. DJ.
Oh, after too, like he's so drunk after the show too, that I'm like, after he's done, I'm like, okay, I'm like, you ready to go, man? He goes, no, I'm having a good time now. He goes, I want to hang out.
Leave me here, man.
He's so drunk. He's like, let's party. And I'm like, this is okay, weird, but okay. So he's like hanging out with the girls and stuff, but like he wants to eat too. And he's like, the munchies when you're so drunk. So he's so drunk that he's taking beef and he's putting it on top of cake and he's eating it. And then one of the girls like, no, honey, that doesn't go there. And he's just like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Okay. And he's just like eating beef and cake at the same time.
That's when he says, I'm a real beefcake, ladies. It's just you threw it up there. I had to slam it home.
That's so good. I'm surprised one of the girls didn't say that.
Right?
That's so good. Yeah, I was just like, I can't believe he's doing that, but okay. Yeah, it was it was fun though.
Wow. Well, it looks like you've led quite an action-filled life thus far.
I try to get in trouble.
Yeah. Cheat death, get in trouble.
Yeah.
And you survived it all. So, where can people find you on the internet?
On Instagram, I'm at Stephen Briggs Comedy, and Stephen is spelled with a V, and Briggs is Briggs. And then on YouTube, it's youtube.com/Stephen Briggs Comedy.
Yeah.
And like I put sketches up every week and stuff like that. So like, yeah, that's mostly where they can.
What have you found to be the split between spellings of Stephen? The PH or the EV?
and the V.
Yeah. What percentage is each spelling, you think? What's the breakdown? Is it about 50-50?
No, I don't think so. I think the V is a little more popular.
I would think so. Yeah.
The PH is, because here's the thing. I think that when people are spelling their kid's name, they're like, okay, we're going to give them a name.
Yeah.
I think they're more like, they're lazy. So they're like less letters.
Yes.
So they go with the shorter version, right?
Yeah. Well, I would go with the
PH
V.
one's longer, right?
Yeah. And it also throws in a curveball. Sometimes I've read that and I'm like, is it Stefan?
Yeah, exactly. That too. I hear that too. So
yeah. No debate. You got the V.
Yeah. I'm like, whatever, like, whatever, PH. Like, and my mom's Puerto Rican, so she goes Esteban. So she doesn't even say Steven. Like, that's like how they say in Spanish, I guess, your name. So and like my mom's name is Bahenia, but in English it's Virginia.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Bahenia.
Bahenia. So Bahenia, Grandma Bahenia. She's crazy, man. She attacked a woman in an elevator in Vegas.
Really?
Yeah, and then at one time at a slot machine because she was playing she plays 3 slots at once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you sit down at the machine and then she'll get mad because she's like, I'm playing that, she's playing 3. But especially if you win on that machine.
Yes.
So this lady sat down and won, and then she goes, those are mine. And then she started hitting her with her cane and stuff like that. Grandma Bohemia, man. She gets down. She don't mess around.
You got a feisty
Yeah,
fam.
yeah. She beat up my younger brother one time.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. He threw a punch at her and she caught it, threw him over and started punching him in the face. And we're like, Grandma, Grandma, Grandma. And we're like, Grandma Bohemia kicked your ass.
Sure he didn't fuck with her again.
No, no.
Wow.
Grandma Bohemia, she still drives when she's old and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She's getting in car accidents. She doesn't care.
give a shit.
She doesn't stop, put her number down.
Yeah.
She hits your car. She tries to run away.
Wow. Well, I'm not going to fuck with her. I'm not going to fuck with your older brother.
Oh, my God.
I'll just stay away from the whole family.
I tried to stay away from him, too.
Well, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, definitely. This was a lot of fun.
That was the episode. Thanks again to Steven for coming on. Really enjoyed talking with him. And yeah, crazy times life is. I can just end in a second. What a message to end on here. But hopefully you enjoyed it. And I really do want to make a TV show about a town that only has one Uber driver. I think there's potential in that. So, once again, if you enjoyed the episode, write us a review on iTunes or the Apple Podcasts app. Screenshot it to me. Email it to me at badtimesgoodstoriespodcast@gmail.com along with your address, and I will send you a Christmas Bad Times Good Stories sticker for free. Really appreciate it, and it would mean a lot, so do it. That's all I got for this week. Again, you can check out badtimesgoodstoriespod.com for past episodes, merch, and Patreon. And until next Wednesday, have a great holiday season and keep laughing.